God, can you believe this? This is too far.
Yeah, I mean, okay. It's a dick move. So, all right, Alex, Alex, you in here? Alex.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Alex, come back. Come back.
I was chopping some bread. What's up?
I know. You've
been spending
looking
all
for
your
more
time
mustard.
in the bread room.
Yeah.
Sandwich palace.
Well, you know what? Then you guys shouldn't have got me that bread slicer as an apology for killing me.
Yeah,
one time.
You couldn't slice bread for the longest time, so we thought, so we thought we should give you. It cuts into. This thing is amazing, folks. It cuts the loaf into 12 equally sized slices, and it's adjustable too. So if you've got a baguette, you make 12 equally sized baguette slices.
I feel like we shouldn't be focusing on my thing. What's up, guys?
Oh,
yeah. So you were in the other room, and we had a letter addressed to all three of us. But as we've established before, we have the no felony among friends rule.
Of course.
So we all just opened the letter. The fucking mayor is on our ass and sent us a cease and desist letter about the
Oh my God, I hate that guy.
It's
mayor.
I mean, it's technically sent from the Lynbrook Cultural Preservation Society, but it's signed the mayor. He doesn't even write his full name. He just writes the mayor in script.
Is that not his name?
No, his name is Oscar. Oscar Mayer.
Oscar the mayor. That's right.
Mayor.
Yeah, that guy. That guy sucks.
Right, yeah.
He's a character. He doesn't like to go by. Ever since he got elected, he's part of this political dynasty. So he says. He seems to think all mayors are related, but he seems to think that he was destined to be the mayor, and now that he is the mayor, he just refuses to use his first name and only wants to be known mononymously as the mayor.
It's really weird because his Christmas cards are clearly photoshopped of him with various famous mayors. He sent
Giuliani.
2 years ago. Giuliani. Last year he sent one with photoshopped in with Buttigieg, and it's just
I still have that one hanging over the fireplace.
Well, that's
it's right there.
We have to. It's the law. It's him, Mayor Pete, Giuliani. And I don't know why he's so proud of the Giuliani one, because anyone can go down across the street to Impractical Joker's tower. And as we established previously, Giuliani is now one of the Jokers. And you can go, and he's just standing out there trying to get pictures with people. He charges $20 a picture, and he's real pushy.
I think my favorite
he's a real
Christmas card
Times
of
Square
his,
Elmo. Yeah.
Do you guys remember the year he sent out the Christmas card where he was with Mayor McCheese?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I think that's my favorite. I think that was his biggest accomplishment.
I thought it was interesting that he went erotic that year.
And he didn't even include Grimace, the face of erotica.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, listen,
as we've established.
Listen, it's an election year. It was an election year that year, so it's he's got to show some.
Yeah, he needed Mayor McCheese's support that year.
Well, you know what they say about Mayor McCheese's support. It's rare.
What do they say?
It's rare. He's a hamburger.
Rare,
it's
sometimes
rare.
Medium rare.
Yeah, so he's got these Christmas cards with all these famous mayors on them, and so we got this letter and we opened it up and we thought it was, we had Christmas in July Christmas already. Card. We thought it was Christmas in September.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, he just listen, he's won 12 consecutive terms. So I get that it's getting to his head. But
and that's
this year in
ballsy
particular,
the way that he runs these elections, us being so close to the UN geographically, because these things. I mean,
wait, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, of course, the free and fair elections. That's one of the big things that the UN pushes. Whereas these are the most expensive and unfair elections in the world. I mean, you have to pay to vote in Lynbrook.
Yeah.
It's like the lottery.
Yeah. Well, he's got to pay for the Photoshop with Mayor McCheese somehow. Yeah. So they
I think he introduced a new system this year where it's like a raffle thing where you can buy a number of votes up until 100 and then you get a free sandwich.
That's like a raffle in what way?
Because you get a sandwich.
That just sounds like a really expensive sandwich. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, guys, don't all raffle like that's
No,
how a raffle works. You
raffle
pay a
is
lot of money and then you get a sandwich.
No.
This is nowhere near the point here. We have a lot of legal issues to work through.
Have I
but
been lied to about what a raffle is?
I
It is a
don't think
raffle
you know what
in
a
the
raffle
sense
is.
that you buy a bunch of tickets, and then if your ticket is drawn, you receive not only a sandwich, but you get to vote. And only 10 tickets are drawn, and I think that, all of them have been members of the Mayer family. Metro Goldwyn, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Seems immoral in some way, though I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We also should note we're broadcasting to Lynbrook, so I think we are actively pissing off the mayor as we are speaking. But
what's he gonna do? Cut our power?
Look, he's already sent us this letter, this cease and desist, and he spelled cease wrong. SEES.
Yeah.
Seize, dismiss.
He's also this guy is stupid. He's dumb. He doesn't know how to spell.
Oh, I see what you mean. He meant to spell SEASON dismiss. Season dismissed.
He's dismissed.
Well, that's his cooking show that he makes. It's on every channel.
I think we're promoting the mayor a little too much here. We don't like this guy.
He's invasive in all aspects of life in this town.
Listen, we don't like season dismissed, especially because the one time they had Emerald on, he wouldn't let him say "bam." He had to be the one that said "bam."
Yeah, he
like
cut
the mayor
Emerald off every
stole
time.
the "bam" line.
And Emerald
like
tried.
as he was
tried.
spicing it up.
He kept trying to He was like, "Oh yeah, that's really," and then he would get cut off immediately by the mayor, who would come in and just bam him. Speaking of bam, the Jackass guys have joined the Jokers, but that's a whole other conversation. Look, we got this cease and desist.
They have an army.
We got the cease and dismissed. And the cease and desist letter basically says that because Raymond is such a cultural icon for Lynbrook, New York, they have basically trademarked the terms Raymond, Barone, Everybody Loves. What else is in here? Robert, Marie, all the characters are just listed. These are people's names, and they claimed the trademark over them, and they're basically saying that we, in this letter, are disgracing the legacy of Ray Barone, and because of that, they're telling us that we gotta shut up.
So what? Hate mail's nothing new to us.
Yeah, but this is mail. This is physical mail. Usually we get hate mail through the internet, but this...
Yeah.
They tried to get Debra as well, but they couldn't, because that's such a common name in this town that there was an uproar. So they only have Debra with between 2 and 20 A's at the end of it.
There's a lot of 20 to 22-year-olds named Debra in Lynbrook because of
all genders,
because of the popularity of the show. Of all genders, yes.
Debra or Debro?
Debro.
I will... We got to get a Debro on this show. That's got to be
incredible that we haven't already.
They're a dime a dozen. Like Debro, come on the show. Any of you.
Any of the thousands. But,
I went to high school with the Debra O'Sullivan. I wonder what he's up to.
I will say that we love Debra O'Sullivan, by the way. Big Debra O'Sullivan fans.
I went to high school with like 20 Debras, but Debra O'Sullivan was the one I knew the most.
I went to a performing arts high school, and I went to high school with a Dobro.
I feel like we're ignoring the fact that we've gotten hate mail before, but this isn't just hate mail. This is like legal repercussions. And it's just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, how is he, what? Like, we've been broadcasting loudly to the police force, to the fire department, to Billy Joel. We've talked about all of these people that have been listening to us and are gathering at the floor of the Barone Zone to talk about it. I don't understand what's happening at... Oh, wait, there's something... Well, there's something else in this envelope. Oh, shit.
What's up?
It's the mayor's... The mayor has a picture with all 148 Impractical Jokers.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Because if you look down there, you'll see Giuliani when he's making people take pictures with him. He's also collecting sales tax on that, and that's going right into the mayor's pocket.
God damn it.
That's it.
I knew
the injustice in this town.
And ever since they opened the combination Wendy's Burger King on the bottom floor of the Impractical Jokers Tower, people have been flooding in there all day. There's cars up and down the block. The drive-through at that Wendy's Burger King is 3 stories deep. It's a subterranean parking garage, and you go down a long hill, and then you wrap around. It does look fun.
And it's going to get even more crazy because they're opening up a Dunkies on the 5th floor. So they're going to have to put in a ramp that goes right up to the Dunkies. And so just that it can come down right back onto Lynbrook Highway.
It's a real, they got Escher. MC.
They got Escher?
Yeah, they got MC
good.
Escher. So I think they're going to figure out how to make that happen. But they're bringing in all this revenue. And meanwhile, nobody's coming to Dwayne Reed. Nobody's coming to D-Hop. And nobody's, no
one's checking out the complimentary tour of the Barone Zone anymore.
We've had minimal foot traffic, honestly, and almost all of them have been looking for the bathroom. So it's not great.
And our bathroom is not great either.
No,
it's reverse.
It's not. No,
it's not plumbing. It's just a big tube that goes straight down.
Well, it's a reverse toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where it reaches. Never mind. I'm not going there.
You're right. You're right. That's where the sewer of Lynbrook comes. They've been bringing in all this revenue, and nobody's coming into our building. And look, to be fair, if you go Google Maps or Bing Maps, as we use in Lynbrook, all of the pictures on Bing Maps for Lynbrook are Impractical Jokers Tower. They've got those beautiful statues out in front of Sal holding up the globe like Atlas. And but you have to go like hundreds of pictures deep before you find a picture of our, brutalist, brown stained building with a Dwayne Reed, or as it says on the sign, Uwayne Reed, because the D fell down. And
they used the D for one of the D's in the Dunkin' Donuts, actually.
God damn it! They stole his D. He's gonna be pissed.
They stole the D. They stole the D.
The D. That sounds familiar.
When this building was built in the 50s, it was built, as the pride of Lynbrook. There had never been a building with this many floors in this city, and now it's like nobody cares.
It was the Parnasse of Lynbrook. Yeah, now it's all gone. Now they got the Escher building. It's just like, listen, we already planned this. We're gonna do it again. I am looking forward to taking these bastards down and taking down the corrupt fascist mayorship that is Lynbrook. We're coming for you, Oscar.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to the big prank.
I'm looking forward to the big prank.
Okay. That's how we're gonna do it. That's how we're gonna take him down.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
it's just like, can we schedule it so that he's
there most of the time? I think he's moved his office.
I think they're moving the entire town hall into that building.
We see they're preparing all of the different helicopters to grab. They're currently on their way over to grab the building and just pick it up and place it at the top of the Impractical Jokers.
Because their tower it looked great, but there was just flat on the top.
Yep, and now they're gonna have a peak.
It's beautiful Art Deco, and there's murals of each of the Jokers, which at first, it's funny because they started out with 4 very large murals, and then as they kept adding people, I think that's why they're building it so high, is because they keep having to add more people to the murals.
They're now up to 148. It's getting to be a lot.
Yeah, they're like my neck's getting tired from looking at the top of their building, even from up here on the 100th floor of the Barone Zone.
Yeah, it's excessive.
Well, at a certain point, it's just clouds, I think they're trying... I overheard... So I was down there in the alley with Dwayne, and we were laying some fuse for the big prank, so that we can light all those fireworks and launch the Impractical Jokers into space. And we heard Steve-O and Crocodile Dundee talking about how they're trying to build the Joker's Tower high enough to heaven, and then they're going to recruit God into the Jokers.
No, not the big man.
I think they're sort of assembling a kind of elite Joker force, so God, Giuliani, and I don't know if you guys have been down in the parking lot lately, because we do share our parking lot.
We do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But next to all of the Teslas, there's 147 Teslas down there, and it's Joker 1 through 148.
They're very successful. The Jokers are incredibly successful.
They're bringing in a lot of revenue for this town. And
I actually do understand what the mayor's point is. They are job creators, as much as I hate to admit it.
It pisses me off.
Well, now they're the largest employer in Lynbrook because
they beat out Gino's Pizzeria, who held the previous record of 6.
That's right. No one's ever employed 148 people in this town.
So who's next? What's next to 147?
Yeah, so it's
Tesla?
147 Teslas, and then at the very end, it's the Bronco, the white Ford Bronco.
The Ford white Bronco. They didn't get the juice.
Oh, they got the juice.
The juice is a Joker?
That's right. OJ.
Oh my God.
And on
God, could you imagine the pranks that could happen if that man and God were in the same room?
You think OJ...
They could shrink a glove or something. I mean, not saying, and I'm sorry. Sorry, is that too controversial?
No. Because they put, how they have their wall of fame, and they have the if you go in the atrium, it's movie posters, or show posters of all the prank shows that people have been in, and they just unveiled, there was a curtain over it, and they just unveiled the one for Juiced, OJ's short-lived prank show that happened way too late in the timeline, post-trial.
Wait, Juiced was post-trial?
Juiced was post-murder trial, pre-memorabilia trial.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But they're proud of
that
it.
Got on the air?
They've taken to him like Europe has taken to Roman Polanski. His slate is clean with them. If you could have dinner with any 5 people, 2 of them are obviously OJ and God, but who else do you have at that
time? Who are the other 3?
Let's save that for a Baroness episode.
That's going to be a very interesting Baroness episode.
Well, we've had heavy hitters here in the Barone zone for our dinner parties, but we've invited God. He has said no.
We have said
he's left us on red.
Well, the first time it was a hard no. His secretary, who he shares with the mayor, sent us a hard no.
And coincidentally, Teresa Caputo and Val,
that's right.
All 4 of them share the same mayor or
first
same
time
secretary.
It was a hard no.
Yeah.
Second time left on red. Each subsequent time left on red.
Well, the Jokers are
the Jokers.
Mayor, they've co-opted too many people.
They've got everyone in their pockets. The mayor, OJ,
God. Apparently.
Not yet. I think that's what
they're on their way.
So
they're building up.
So to set the stakes here, we need to send the Jokers building into space with all of them on it before the Jokers are able to reach and recruit God.
Yes.
Is that an accurate description of everything we've set up in the past?
I think our goal is to Tower of Babel the impractical Jokers. I think that's our ultimate scheme.
Here at Everybody Loves Raymond, our end game is to stop the impractical Jokers and O.J. Simpson from reaching God so that they can prank the entire world. Please subscribe. Who wanted this? I don't know, but we're here now.
We need to start introducing the show at the start so that we remember why we're here.
Yeah, that's right. Honestly, I think we mentioned Raymond one time. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, this is promise, I swear to you.
Everybody, we've been talking for 25
Raymond.
minutes.
We didn't even introduce ourselves.
This is Everybody Loves Raymond. My name is Mike D. We have Adam Rudy.
Hi.
And Alex Shear.
Yo.
And
thanks for listening.
I swear to God. Yes, we're here to take down the Impractical Jokers, but more immediately, I swear to God, we are going to review the next episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Season 1, episode 21 of Everybody Loves Raymond. It's called Fascinatin Debra. Look, people like that we're authentic and we bring our real lives into the show and the things that we're dealing with on a daily basis.
We don't hide the drama. We lay it all out there. Not everyone is privileged enough to live in such an interesting town as we do. Right. So I feel it's important that we share, the real life story of the town of Lynbrook, along with the fictional story of
Everybody Loves Raymond. That's right.
Which is the fictional part of this podcast. The rest of it is basically a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like to think of it as a personal journal.
A time capsule, if you will.
A time capsule that we can share with our children. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, oh, that's what my dad was going through at the time.
So, all right.
Let's talk about this week's episode, shall we?
Let's take a quick break.
I think we've gone a long way. I think we need to take a step back real quick, listen to our sponsors, and when we come back, we will go through and review scene by scene Season 1, Episode 21 of Everybody Loves Raymond. Back after this.
If there's one demographic that listens to this show, it's writers. Our listeners are very literary and erudite and urbane, and they're novelists, essayists, journalists, short storyists, and that's why I think it's important to tell you about Quillbot. Quillbot is an AI-powered paraphrasing tool that will enhance your writing. It integrates directly into the tools you already use, like Gmail, Google Docs, Microsoft Word, and has every resource you'll need throughout the writing process. A paraphraser, a grammar checker, a summarizer, a citation generator, and a plagiarism checker, all in one convenient app. So why don't you go over to postfund.info/ads and check out Quillbot and let them know that Raymond sent you. Welcome back to Everybody Loves Raymond. Did we welcome you the first time? I don't know. I'm Adam Rudy. I'm here with Mike D and Alex Shear. And
I'm Mike D.
We are here in the midst of, look, it's a crazy week for us. You know when life gets hectic. That's what we're going through right now. But
to say the least.
But we have a responsibility. It's a sacred responsibility that we promise to each other, that despite whatever ceases and desists we get, we will convene every week to talk scene by scene through an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, and this week is no different. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 21, Fascinatin Debra.
It's a weird thing to say after a week where we did a Baroness episode instead of an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yes.
That's close enough. It had Brad Garrett.
It did. I'm not saying that. I'm saying...
If you couldn't tell from the previous 30 minutes, sometimes we don't break down an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond at all.
That's just us telling you about our lives, It's not interesting to everyone, but, I think we live pretty intriguing lives, so it's important to share that.
Yeah.
Because, it gives us personality other than just the three guys who like Raymond, which is true, but there's more to us.
We do like Raymond. Yeah.
We're many layered. We, I think this episode is a lot about being what normal
Yourself.
is and being yourself and being unique. And we're three unique guys. You were dating an impractical joker dressed up like Marie Barone for several weeks, Mike.
Sure was.
Alex
Broke
was
that
dead.
off, but yeah.
Sure was. Broke that off, but
And Adam bailed Billy Joel out of jail on more than one occasion.
See, interesting lives.
We're normal, interesting guys. This episode, let's overall impressions. That's what we do. Overall impressions of this episode. Let's start with Alex.
Cool. I thought this was a very interesting episode. Watching it the whole way through, I thought about like our discussions and thought that perhaps maybe this episode was in a way a response to people talking about the show and maybe saying like, oh, Debra's boring, like she's like, the least interesting character, stuff like that. And then they took that and kind of ran with it because, yeah, the Barones are all insane. And Debra is kind of the audience surrogate in a way because she reacts like a normal human being to many of the scenarios on the show. So to kind of have her kind of, take the protagonist seat in this episode and really just kind of question her normalcy in a sea of craziness, but also comedy and intrigue, which is what the Barones are, I thought was a really interesting idea, and I thought it was executed very well. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you there. It's also like, I mean, we've dipped our toe into the world of the ELR Reddit subreddit, and people still complain about Debra, which we don't understand. We've talked many times before about how much we enjoy Debra as a character. But yeah, that is interesting, Alex. I didn't really piece together that this episode kind of serves as a, whether intentional or not, a response to that kind of commentary. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was a freaking hilarious episode. There are some really good moments in here. And yeah, it's a good character. I love episodes that really make sense and the humor is elevated once the characters are developed. And we're getting a few of those in towards the end of the season. And this is definitely one that, like, this couldn't be the pilot because otherwise, it wouldn't be as funny. There's a moment, and we're going to talk about it, but I just love this moment. I realized the show was established when the doctor, what's her name, was Dr. Nora was talking with Ray, and then Marie and Frank come in, and the audience audibly gasps or groans, and it's just like that's the moment where it's just like they see where this is coming, and I thought it was a beautiful moment.
They understand these characters.
Yeah, and it takes some work to get there, and I'm glad to see that they've established that and they're having some fun with it. So yeah, Adam, what about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Like you guys are saying, we have psychoanalyzed these characters to an extent, and I like the way that this episode went with it, not being overly, like, Dr. Nora is interested in these people. She's not repulsed by them, and she doesn't think that they need to change. She just wants to document their eccentricities, which I thought was that bred a lot of comedy, because it wouldn't have been interesting to see her tell Robert, oh, you clearly have OCD, and this is the treatment we should pursue for you. It was much funnier to see her be fascinated by Robert and Frank and Marie. And then also, this is a Debra episode. Like, this, I think, is the first one where Debra is in every scene, and it's basically about, well, except for the cold open, and it's basically about Debra. In the past, we've seen these sorts of conflicts where Debra is being in some way negatively impacted by the Barones, but it's all incidental to Ray, and most of the episode will follow Ray as he tries to mediate whatever conflict is between them. But it's not about Debra and how Debra feels during all of this for the most part. This is our first Debra episode, I feel like, and I was really happy to see that.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a fun show all around. Well, I'm looking forward to diving into it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that then. Our cold open, Mike, this is a sports person, right?
It sure is.
Why don't you go ahead and explain who this guy is to us?
All right. Well, our guest for today is in the cold open is none other than Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard was a very famous college football star for the University of Michigan. He eventually won the Heisman Trophy while he was there, but he then got drafted in the 1992 NFL draft after he graduated college by the Washington Redskins and didn't really do much. He didn't really become the wide receiver that everybody thought he was going to be. He became part of the special teams, which is basically the team that receives kickoffs and kicks field goals, and ultimately really is not that sexy a part of the team. But he did see a moment in the sun, because in Super Bowl 31, in I believe 1990, but I could be wrong about the year, but Super Bowl 31, Desmond Howard was playing for the Green Bay Packers against the New England Patriots and returned a 99-yard kickoff for a touchdown. It was at the time the longest kickoff return touchdown by far, and earned him the first and to date only Super Bowl MVP won by a special teams player. Other than that, fairly unremarkable career in the NFL, but that was one of the ones for the history books, and that's who that we have Raymond interviewing in a bar in the cold open.
So he's a one-hit wonder.
I mean, yeah, I think he was eventually inducted into. Was he inducted into the Hall of Fame? No, he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. I'm just looking up right now. He has his number retired by the Michigan Wolverines, but not in the NFL. But yeah, that play right there is one of the most legendary plays in 90s Super Bowl history.
I'm sorry, you said he returned a 99-yard. He ran 99 yards for a touchdown from a kick.
Right.
He was on
Patriots
the 1 yard. No, I understand. He was on the 1 yard line, and he received the ball and ran all the way across the field
for a touchdown.
And you said that was the record at the time. So since then, someone has been standing in the end zone, received it, and ran all the way across the field. Right?
Yes, that is correct. I don't know what play exactly was.
Has anyone been standing in the stands, received the kickoff, ran across the field? Or is that still uncharted?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. Well,
that's still uncharted. That would be considered out of play by most people.
I take the bus to see the Giants every week, and I shouldn't say I see them. I stand outside and I sell my T-shirts. But I sell my They Might Be Giants T-shirts outside the Meadowlands. But it's They Might Be and then the Giants logo, so it's pretty fun.
Oh, okay. So it was a collaboration.
I got banned
of the band They Might Be Giants.
I was removed from Redbubble for trying to sell that shirt, and have subsequently been removed from every custom shirt website, so I have to go out to the Meadowlands. But my seat is right behind the goalpost. I mean, I'm way up there.
That's really good.
It would have to be like a base jump situation where I'm in like the nosebleeds. It would have to be a really hard kick. Then I would jump, catch it in midair, land on the field, and run for the touchdown. That wouldn't count.
No, that would be fan interference.
I guess so.
And then you would have to deal with like you don't see. And when you go to a baseball game, occasionally you'll see a fan hop the fence and run on the field, and then it's fun to watch the security officers chase him down and tackle him. You don't see that happen in a football field, and the reason why is because there are 400-pound linebackers, 11 of them on the field at any given time, that would be love to absolutely demolish you. So I would say stay in your seat.
My
might be
hope
the better
there
option
would be that I would be flying, sort of gliding down like a flying squirrel. The linebackers would try to get me. They would jump, and their, the mass, the force plus the acceleration, or the mass plus the acceleration of them hitting me would give me an extra boost so that I could soar. Ideally, I would like to soar through the opposite and the goalposts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ray is interviewing Desmond Howard at this bar.
Who, to be clear, is not the Flying Squirrel, just one of the most famous Super Bowl MVPs of the 90s.
Nor did he play for the New York Giants, I take it. But
I don't think he did. He definitely played for the Redskins. He definitely played for the Packers.
So you don't think he did, but he might be Giants?
He might be Giants.
Right.
No, he played for the Redskins, Jaguars, Packers, Raiders, and Lions. He never played for any New York team.
Okay. And yet here he is in Lynbrook at this bar. Do you recognize this bar? Is this in Little Ireland, which we talked about last week?
Yeah, this is O'Connor's. Yeah.
And that got bought out, actually, by ABC. I don't know if you've driven down there lately, but now it's the Connors.
Yeah, I have noticed that, actually. But you know what? Hey, listen, give them their themed bar. I'm here for it. The Friends got Central Perks. ABC's got the Connors.
The Connors. But
the Connors.
Ray's in this bar. He appears to be drinking ginger ale. I was kind of disappointed that the bartender wasn't facing a Canada Dry bottle towards the camera and pouring it out for him. But it looked like ginger ale.
They must have had like a multi how much do you think the product placement deal for Canada Dry and Everybody Loves Raymond was? Because it's in every episode.
I'm guessing that they asked for between $2,000 and $3,000.
I mean, that would check out, right?
Yeah. That's the only amount they know.
That's how Ray makes this money that he keeps losing.
He gets exactly the amount that he loses in every episode. They're talking about this article that Ray wrote about him, and Ray tells him that his editor thought, the article was okay. He was kind of blah about it. And then Desmond tells him, when he does a good job, he lets everybody know. Like, he wants Ray to come in and hand that article in confidently, do a little touchdown dance, and he demonstrates it for him. And then has Ray do his touchdown dance, which is it's kind of a cool little move. It's a little wiggle, and he hands the imaginary article in. This was another one of those cold opens where it was very written. It's a very self-contained little bit. Gives the athlete guest star, a chance to shine. In that genre, I still think the Barry Bonds one was my favorite. But this one was pretty good.
This one was good. You got to see Desmond Howard act a little bit, but yeah, I like the Barry Bonds one more.
I thought
this was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Obviously,
it was definitely my least favorite part of the episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Sorry, Desmond, to come on the podcast.
The Christy Yamaguchi one is the worst. She didn't get much to do there, and then was ogled by Ray, which we don't like to see. But
I do say I just because of the ridiculousness of it, I think Kareem's guest star appearance,
Kareem and Tommy Lasorda, where they're inexplicably in Ray's house. Those are very funny. That's a category unto itself of athlete guest star inexplicably in Ray's house.
Yeah.
But we come out of our cold open and we go to the conveyor belt opening. I feel like, I'm not going to go all the way through, but I feel like we've seen the conveyor belt opening for the past several episodes, 8 maybe episodes?
Yeah, it's been very consistent.
Yeah.
I guess it'll be a real nail biter for the final episode of the season to see if we go back to the
Are we taking
set,
bets?
or let's bet. I'm gonna
place
bet $2,000 on it being the conveyor belt opening.
I'll match that bet. I also think it's going to be the conveyor belt, but just to keep it interesting, I'll bet on the playset.
Okay.
We should all bet on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, let's do that. So,
but I don't want to be out $6,000.
No, you'd only lose $2,000.
Yeah, but
you're only putting in $2,000. Oh, we
That's
have
a true
tons
point.
of money.
I can't really do a bet right now. My money's tied up in something else, so I will bet with my honor.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a
hopefully
little
you
lame.
get some liquidity because we can't spend your honor.
That's what you think.
Oh, well, that sounded like you're offering. Are you doing some sex work on the side?
Yeah.
You know,
That's
if you
not
are,
what I'm saying, but yeah.
Dwayne has those windows downstairs. It's real Amsterdam red light district where you just, you know, if that's your profession, you go down there and you can dance.
Adam, I know what Dwayne's doing. Trust me, I know what Dwayne's doing down there.
All right,
It's
all right.
fine.
Okay.
But we come out of the place at opening.
No, conveyor belt.
And conveyor belt opening. Sorry, got mixed up there. And then we see Ray entering the house, presumably from his meeting with Desmond Howard, and he walks in, and we see Debra on the phone conversing with an unknown person, saying fairly generic stuff and shooing Ray away, right? And then she hangs up at the person and excitedly runs over to the fridge and turns on the radio, and she hears the end of her conversation on the radio. And Ray is pretty concerned about that. Just like, what are you spilling our business on the over? I believe his phrasing was a radio shrink.
That's what he said.
Ray was Ray. Debra was on the phone with Dr. Nora Sarrazin. And
that's not a real person, right?
No, she's based on, I mean, obviously she's based on like Dr. Ruth or Frasier, other radio psychiatrists. Like that was a very big thing in the 90s. Sleepless in Seattle, the whole premise is a radio psychiatrist connects two people. But yeah, so that's what Dr. Nora is based on, and Debra was calling in because some other caller was saying that she didn't feel appreciated, and Ray immediately goes on the defensive. He's like, I appreciate you for everything, and then Dr. Nora calls back for Debra, and Debra's very excited.
Yeah.
And Ray, meanwhile, is being... I thought this was a pretty funny bit, but, you know, in reality, what an asshole.
Yes, but it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. He was chopping celery, and then Debra snapped at him to stop doing that, so he goes over and takes ice cubes louder than anyone has ever taken ice cubes out of a freezer, and then finally starts playing with this brown paper bag.
Doing the magic trick, right, where it looks like he's tossing something in. I thought that was cute. I mean, yes, you're right. What an asshole, but also like he got
it was funny.
Out of me. I gotta admit.
You know, it's one of those like we like when Ray and Debra have like playful couple moments. It just happened that Debra was not available for that at the time. So.
Yeah,
I do think Ray at first was just completely like. Sincerely just not even realizing what he was doing, and then the moment he realized, he was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna fuck with Debra, and it was very enjoyable.
Exactly. But Ray is so she gets off the phone, and it turns out that Dr. Nora wants to talk to Debra because she's a part of a dying breed,
vanishing
the housewife.
Breed. Which, I feel so. Dr. Nora is coming over to interview Debra. From the little bit of Debra's call that we heard, I don't know if she needs to do that.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, okay, a couple thoughts running through my mind in this. Number one, like Debra and Ray aren't that interesting people. Like, I mean, yes. The show is about them. I get it, but like
on the outside
looking in, it's similar. I had a thought similar to what we had when we saw Ray begging Terry Bradshaw for him to be the ghostwriter, right? Where it was like, "Oh, Terry, just listen to my pitch," and then he gives the single most generic pitch for any sports book that I've ever heard, and it's like, why the hell are we? You know, it's just like one of those ones where it's just like, why the hell do we care about Ray? Why would Terry Bradshaw care about Ray Barone? Why would Dr. Nora care that much about Debra. It's just it was just one of those things where it's just like it doesn't seem like that special a thing. Sorry, Deb.
Yeah, what she was saying was pretty generic, I feel like. I mean, unless my hope is that Dr. Nora is local, and this is local radio, not a lot of wattage on that station. And, you know, I just hope Dr. Nora didn't take the LIRR to come and interview Debra, although we know she didn't. She took a big
LIRR
black
is
car.
expensive these days.
She had a car, so she drove.
But she paid gas money for going to visit Debra.
Maybe Debra was one of many housewives, and she's doing like a
I hope
broader
she's doing
study.
a tour. Yeah,
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
I think so. And then she just realizes that she stumbles into a gold mine and stays a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and I will say that Ray isn't excited about any of this.
No, he wants to go golfing instead.
Yes. Well, I'll be honest. Up until the golfing part, I get it. Like, I would also feel uncomfortable if a significant other just started, without like consulting or anything like that, started talking about the relationship business on national radio without, you know, me being aware. I would also understand being a little frustrated with that, or uncomfortable, not really frustrated, but yeah.
Well, there's a difference between, you know, hi caller, what's your issue, and I went and interviewed Debra B. and in Lynbrook, New York, and I think, you know, the call is whatever. I kind of understand Ray's reticence about like going on the record as a family, and then later we find out Dr. Nora took pictures of the Barones. Like, this is going to be a whole spread. That's something that you know, I understand he is not too keen about. But Debra wants him to be there, and Debra wants to do this. And we go to our next scene. They're in the living room. Debra turns off the TV that Ray and Allie are watching, and they both go, "Hey," which was cute. And
it was cute, but it was also like, I was listening to it. The TV was talking about sports stuff, which makes sense for why Ray was upset. Why is this 5-year-old girl that into the intricacies of like football or hockey or whatever they were talking about?
Maybe
I don't know.
she
I thought it was
the background noise while she's coloring.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
while she's coloring the naked Barbies.
Yeah,
that's what we learn about in a minute.
Really do enjoy a bit of background music when I am coloring naked Barbies. So
that's right.
You know, it all checks out.
When you're in your studio, when I'm in my
professional artist studio, with my $10,000 set of artist markers, coloring, you know,
and the bread slicer.
Barbies and my bread slicer. They're in the same room.
Yeah, his bread studio and his art studio are both of those are on the 98th floor of the building, which you're late on your rent, by the way.
I mean, I didn't really think I had to pay. It was empty.
Well, so the ACH transfer didn't go through from your checking account. Are you sure you're liquid? You've got assets?
You know what?
Or
let's talk about this next week.
Okay. I mean, let's just make it a priority, because, you know,
it's not a priority.
That bread slicer uses a lot of electricity, and just want to, you know, keep.
Again, a gift from you guys.
That is true. We really shot ourselves in the foot on that one. But when you're in your studio and you're painting this series of, you know, it's Barbies, it's naked, it's, you know, in the style of the Venus de Milo. It's this whole series. It's really beautiful work, but I just wish you would stop listening to 50s like novelty rock and roll songs. Like, you play a lot of Big Bopper, you play a lot of Chubby Checker, but only Let's Twist Again, not the original Twist.
Well, it helps the creative process. I actually I was gonna name the set after you guys, but instead I've, you know, because of all the backlash I've been getting from you two, I've just decided the default name of Come On Barbie, Let's Go Artie.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. That's a better name than any
good name
you could have used with the two of us. That's a really good name. It's a really good name.
So Raymond.
So yeah, Deborah's preparing the house for the arrival of Dr. Nora. She's clearly very excited. She's got the kids all ready to go, all dressed up. Well, not really dressed up, but like she's clearly cleaning up and trying to put on a show. Yes. And she's mentioning to Ray, "Hey Ray, should we move the TV so that it doesn't look like it's the focal point of the room?" And I thought Ray had the really funny line of, "What are you talking about? It's the focal point of our lives."
Kind of a meta joke.
But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But she also tells him to move the TV into the den. What den? Do we ever see this den?
Oh, good point.
I think it's behind the kitchen, unless that's the garage.
That's the garage.
It's the laundry room
there were two
going
doors.
into the... There are. Yeah, I think there's a hallway, and it goes into it goes past the laundry and goes into the garage. But isn't there a room beyond the living room on the other side of the stairs?
No.
That door.
Does that just
that
go
door
to
goes
a
to the
wall?
basement. That goes to the basement.
No, the basement door is underneath the stairs.
Yes, but yeah.
But then the actual staircase ends with a wall. There's no opening behind it.
Yeah, there's no door. It's just the bookshelf in the wall.
It's just the living room. I don't know what den she was talking about either.
Well, then that's crazy. Maybe she's talking about the basement.
Deborah's going nuts. Taking the TV all the way to the basement? I don't know, man. That sounds dangerous at that point, because then Ray's going to get all sweaty, and then it's still judgmental. Unless there's a den like behind the fourth wall. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's what I was going to say. There must be a whole other wing of the house beyond the fourth wall. They've got a den. They've got, a
billiards room,
pool. They've got a conservatory, and the Barones are just lousy with candlesticks and lead pipes is the other thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
So Dr. Nora arrives and gets no applause break. It's weird to me. I'm pretty conditioned, I feel like, from celebrity guest stars when somebody enters a sitcom set and there's no applause break. It
feels disrespectful.
Yes.
But they did seem to take a beat too, as if she was gonna get one.
They were waiting.
I don't know if you noticed.
I did actually notice that. I thought that too. Yeah.
But no, there's no reason the audience would know Dr. Nora, who's played by Mary Kay Adams. And she is a John and John Quincy Adams. She's a direct descendant of that line.
Oh, no way.
Wow. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Some presidential lineage here. All right.
She was a soap star. She was on 65 episodes of Guiding Light and 10 of As the World Turns.
All right.
Her IMDb photo is as a Klingon. She did 2 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Maybe if she came on in the Klingon makeup, they would have given it up for her.
She would have gotten the applause, yeah.
But that's Mary Kay Adams. And yeah, she comes in, and Deborah's very nervous. She's trying to be like the perfect model housewife because apparently that's what Dr. Nora is interested in. But she's, fussing around with the twins, and she's, Dr. Nora points out that they're... What does she say? She says that... Does she point out that they're dressed differently, or Deborah points out that they're dressed differently?
No, Nora points out that they're dressed differently and says that's good.
Yeah, Deborah's like, oh yes, it's important to have them, develop distinct personalities besides just being twins. But Ray is cracking little jokes and making Dr. Nora laugh. Deborah excuses herself at some point, and Dr. Nora asks Ray, what's it like having 3 children under the age of 5? And Ray does this analogy about it being like a frat house, and this felt like a stand-up bit for sure. They just reworded, I have 3 children under 5. It's like being in a frat house too. What's it like having 3 children under 5? Oh, it's like being in a frat house.
That sounds familiar. Was that from the Letterman appearance?
I don't know. I didn't research what it was.
We didn't listen to it on the show. That's for sure.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, it sounds very familiar. I just want to say that that the reason that Debra excuses herself is because Dr. Nora starts talking to Allie, and Allie mentions that she has naked Barbies.
Oh yeah.
That she's drawing naked Barbies, and then we get Ray making the stupid jokes of like, Deborah's like, why don't we draw Barbie building something? And Ray says she can still be naked, which Dr. Nora laughs at. Debra gives him a death glare, and then Allie stands up, goes up to Dr. Nora, and says, "When are you leaving?" And that's when Deborah's like, "All right, time for nap, everybody," and takes them all upstairs to lie down. Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out.
I just wanted to point out that it's not just Ray that's ruining things. I know we're not blaming Allie. She's 5, but also she's still being kind of rude and stuff as well. So yeah.
The parents arrive at this point. They barge in and are asking why there's a big black car. Yeah, the groan. The big black car in the driveway. Frank thinks it's the feds. And then Marie recognizes Dr. Nora's voice, and she it's very
They have a funny little interaction.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nora. Are you Dr. Nora?
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a great line. And then we see the chaos.
Yeah. Marie starts talking to Dr. Nora. Oh, I'm so glad Deborah's seeing someone. And then Frank full on sexually harasses her, which
I was
prompts Marie.
just like this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No way around it. I knew it took me back. I know it was the 90s. It was a different time. It's still in no way freaking okay. And just it
goes beyond
audacity.
It goes beyond any oh, that's just Frank to wow. I feel like that's
cool,
even
Frank.
out of character for Frank to be that rude and direct and inappropriate.
Feels that way, but yeah.
Marie rightfully yells at him for being embarrassing, and then they do this competing I can't hear you, holding their hands over their ears and yelling.
Singing loudly at each other. And I will say that I'm cringing the entire time because it's oh God, this is so important to Debra. Ray's mortified in the background. But if you look at Dr. Nora, she's looking at them with such fascination that it's a very good bit of acting. It really is.
She looks at them as how a child would look at animals at the zoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much
with
so.
intrigued. She wants to learn about them.
That's her whole from the moment that the Barones come in, that's Dr. Nora's whole vibe, is she's fascinated by Frank and Marie, and then Robert enters knocking. He does that thing where he opens the door while knocking again, which is funny. And they tell him that Dr. Nora is there, and of course he says, "Is this about me?"
That was a good. That was a good. Is this about me?
That was a great bit. That was a great moment. Deborah's downstairs at this point already, just desperately trying to rectify the situation, failing miserably, but desperately trying to. We also, by the way, as Robert sits down, and they're like, "All right, we'll talk with Dr. Nora. We'll be good." We get more information about Debra pre-Raymond.
That's right. Debra tells Dr. Nora that they met while she was doing PR for a hockey team. Obviously, we've talked about in the past the minor league hockey team in Lynbrook, the Lynbrook Turtles, where every time they're doing poorly, people throw plastic straws on the ice.
We have talked about that.
I went into the archives down at the library, and I did find the newspaper clipping for this big campaign that she was doing for the hockey team. Do you want to know what it was?
No kidding.
It was bring your child onto the ice, and one of the players will do a slap shot of your child into the goal. And if they make it, you get a free ticket to the next game.
Oh my God.
That's a great fucking promotion, man.
Yeah,
I'm here
obviously
for
it
it.
had to stop at a certain point. An inevitable the next headline, the very next day, was inevitable tragedy occurs. But then, Mike, I know that you were very personally touched by the next campaign that Debra's company did for the Lynbrook Turtles. Because I know
Truly.
you were at one of those games where they did that.
Oh, you mean where they literally threw the children onto the ice with a bunch of snapping turtles on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
You were there, Mike?
I was there that night. It was the legendary night because it was like... It was pitched as a school science trip. And they were just like, it's like the touching corner of the aquarium. And that's the idea. Is like, we'll put turtles on the ice. It'll be cute. The kids and the turtles will slip around. But this is what made Debra actually lose her job. They didn't really touch on this in the show, but she made a mistake and got the wrong turtles. Instead of sea turtles, she got snapping turtles, and a lot of kids got bit that day, and it did not go well for the turtles.
And the headline the next day after that was inevitable parentheses smaller comma but still inevitable tragedy occurs at hockey game. And then the subheading underneath that is woman fired from PR firm. Alex,
I remember that.
Your family did win that TV though, right? At the hockey game?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, I didn't win it. It was my grandpa won it. And then he passed it down to my parents, and they still have it. I have yet to earn it. It's like the family crest,
right?
Of our family, where we use it to watch like VHSs, and like I plug my Nintendo Wii into it sometimes to play Wii bowling.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm not allowed to have it until I prove myself, and that's kind of it's one of my big character motivations, I'd say.
Okay, good to know for the future. Well, let me write that down. Alex is trying to impress his family. Okay. Debra tells Debra tells Dr. Nora that they met when she was doing PR for a hockey team.
Pouring her heart out to Dr. Nora, wanting Dr. Nora to notice her. Dr. Nora doesn't give a shit at all.
But it also, her, statements and the way she spoke, it felt all rehearsed and prepared.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a big point of contention that was looked at later by Ray and Debra, where it was like you weren't, yourself, and you really just kind of almost said like you had the whole story laid out, where it was like, it didn't have to be an interview at this point. You could have literally sent in a sheet of paper with writing on it.
Yeah.
To where it didn't feel genuine, and then maybe that's why she lost interest so quickly.
Yeah, totally. And she
I
does
think the reason she lost interest so quickly is because she had the freak show walk in the door. Like, I don't think it's that she was disappointed with Debra. I think it's just like she realized, oh, there's a better book to write in this room. I think that's where it came from.
I don't entirely agree with you, Mike, because you are incorrect. And allow me to prove you wrong.
Okay.
Yes, no, absolutely. The Barones are super interesting, and that's kind of the point of contention in this episode. But I also thought there was some subtext here about like how like the idea of interviewing like housewives, it's probably not just Debra. They probably like it's probably not a super uncommon occurrence to have like someone like, all right, my time in the spotlight, it's time to rehearse my lines and kind of like, put on a show almost, where especially as a radio host, she probably gets that all the time. So to just see some like a group of people so genuinely themselves and so genuinely not afraid to be themselves, as we have seen, was definitely an eye catcher. But I do think the main reason that it happened so quickly was because of Debra's lack of
flair,
genuineness, or flair.
Also that.
So, Mike, you're not wrong. I just wanted to tell you that you were wrong.
Well, I think Alex,
I still disagree.
I think you're both right to an extent. I think Alex is right to identify that, Debra had her rehearsed thing, and that probably wasn't super engaging for Dr. Nora. I think Mike Yes, when Robert starts eating the chips and chinning each chip, Dr. Nora, already losing interest in Debra, immediately becomes transfixed by Robert chinning his chips. And her focus entirely shifts to the Barones at that point. And we go to our next scene. Debra is in bed and Ray comes in. Debra's obviously upset because Dr. Nora was supposed to be there for her, not the Barones, and she's worried that she thought that Debra was boring. Ray says, she's just normal. Debra's just normal. And that sort of sets up the rest of the episode, is this conflict between the unusual Barones and Debra, who's just normal. We also learn a little detail about Robert. Ray has a pretty funny line of, I was falling asleep to my brother naming his toes. Robert's toes are named Fat Tony, Jimmy the Weasel, Billy, Stretch, and Tastes Bad, which was a really funny detail.
That last one got me good, honestly. The rest sound like they could be in the mouth. That last one just got me. Yeah.
He's comforting her, or trying to, and Ray starts licking this bowl while Debra is talking, and God damn it, this was disgusting.
This was disgusting.
I found this absolutely disgusting.
What,
the way
licking the bowl?
The way he was licking the bowl so completely and just covering every inch of it, and the intensity, not stopping while she was talking.
I'm not going to front you, Adam. I have definitely licked the bowl with that much passion before. Like, I get it.
Anyone who fucking goes down on a bowl like this is gross to me. And I will not be swayed otherwise. And then Debra, he tries to make her lick it, which is also weird and charged and gross, right? I don't know.
I mean, he wants to do it because she's so insecure about her being normal, and she sees that as like I can't do that. That's weird. So it's like, you can be weird. Lick the bowl. I think that was the motivation more than let me see you lick it. I think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was that.
It made me feel like Ray was getting off on the idea of Debra licking the bowl. I don't know. I hated this scene. I hated the way this scene ended.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it was particularly anything.
Okay.
Sorry.
Debra and the kids are in the kitchen in the next scene. This I was fine with. Allie mixing the chocolate milk with a hot dog. That I was fine with. I don't care about that.
That's a super kid thing to do.
Yeah.
That's funny.
My sister has done shit like this.
It flashed me back to, I was at a wedding with my young cousin, who is now in high school, but at the time was like 5. And I just watched him sit next to his dad as he had the cake from the wedding cake. It was a chocolate cake. He took off bits and put it into his milk. And I was like, what's going on here? My uncle saw him do this and was just like, he's trying to make chocolate milk, and just started dumping it out. It's just like, and it just reminded me of that. Yeah.
Kids are weird.
Kids are weird.
That was funny. I like that. Frank, Marie, and Robert enter at this point, and they in a very forced manner, ask Debra, what she's making, or what Allie has, and Deborah's like, turkey dogs, and Marie's like, oh, turkey dogs, what an interesting choice. And Frank is like, wow, Debra, you're so weird. And Ray clearly asked them to come over and pretend like Deborah's weird. Robert's, what did Robert say? I can't remember.
Socks and slippers at the same time. How innovative. Like, it was kind of cringy. And then Ray comes in, and Deborah's like, I'm on to you. You told these guys to come over, and he's just like, they all came over at once?
All at once?
Not one at a time?
Not one at a time, which would be the smart, subtle way.
It was a great delivery from Ray, honestly. But yeah, it was... Yeah.
Yeah, Marie is like, she didn't give us much to work with. And then
socks and slippers.
Frank hits on, you just lack a certain flair. And then this is when we find out that Dr. Nora sent a photographer over to take the Barone's picture.
It's just they're so proud of it. They're so proud of it and totally unaware of the fact that they're becoming a case study.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
This is not like them being discovered. It's them being dissected.
That's right.
Yeah, if you zoom out for a second and Deborah's like, I want to be a part of this too. When you're like, they're like a foot in, they're like 1 foot in a mental institution.
Yeah.
Is just so funny to me.
Deborah is really annoyed at this point, and she makes fun of all of their flair. And she does an impression of each of them. Some of the lines that she was giving for Marie were from previous episodes, like the baking soda one.
Yeah, that's right.
And really funny. And then she does Frank. How does she do Frank again?
She does the covering of the ears while singing.
Oh yeah.
Countdown. Did he sing that song? Yeah,
Before we go further, I wanted to say just about the Marie imitations that yes, it's actually from previous episodes, which is a cool callback, but it also tells us that like Deborah holds on to these things.
That's true.
True.
I think that first one, or the fridge one, was in the pilot, so 20 weeks ago in Deborah's time. Almost half a year. Wow, that's a good point, Alex.
That is.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and then she gets to Robert, and she's doing the chin thing with the bag of chips, and then
she's just ends up throwing. Everybody loves Raymond. She's throwing the chips all over the place. Yeah.
And them laughing, and then Robert saying, "Do me now."
Beautiful.
Such a great.
When we didn't point this out. When Dr. Nora asks him about the chips and the chin, do you always do that when you eat? Robert says, "Do what?" Like, it's so automatic for him. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. And this lack of self-awareness is funny too. But the Barones love it. They are thrilled by it.
They're eating it up. They're not offended at all.
Which is, I don't know, is that in character for them? I guess Deborah, we've never really seen Deborah like stick it to them like this before. We've seen people like outsiders be critical of them and them get upset by it, like Warren and Lois in the restaurant. I don't know, but it's good to see that they're not offended by it and they think it's funny.
Yeah. I will say that in a later episode, I know that that Deborah and Ray do something similar. They put on like a skit in front of all of their friends, which they are very offended by. Mm-hmm. So maybe it really is just like a public versus private. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that they took the joke well. They definitely took the joke well.
Oh, then we see Deborah and Ray in the bedroom, and Ray is telling her that, she has the funny line of Ray gives her an aspirin, and she's like, "Thanks, I popped something," while she was doing the chip thing. And Ray's like, they loved your act, and Deborah's still a little upset about being the normal one, and Ray tells her that they need a normal one. And then he realizes that she is weird after all, because why would any normal person put up with us for as long as you have, is what he says.
And I feel like we've actually talked about this specifically. Like, Deborah chose this. Deborah chose this life, and now she gets to kind of live with that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely something weird about her.
Yeah. And Ray's rationale is, he grew up with this, so he can't escape, but Deborah chooses to be there, and therefore there's something wrong with her. And this realization really thrills Deborah because she just wants to feel like she's unique and part of the weird family that is the Barones, and in her own way, she is. And then we go to our hot close, the opposite of the cold open. Do we think that there was good old sex in between?
I was thinking that. Like, I thought there was a chance, but
not explicitly said.
It's not it's not said. There's no really direct insinuation.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be both you and I, Adam, kind of stretching.
Hoping.
Wishing.
Praying.
We pray that Debra got some.
We pray for a notch on the cum counter, but I don't think we can count this one.
No, not
I don't
good
think
faith.
so either.
But it's nighttime and the lights are out, and Ray says, she imitated everybody except him, and Debra does her Ray impression, which is pretty funny, some of the things that she chooses.
Yeah.
I do have to say, in terms of the Ray impressions we've seen on the show, Kevin's is still the best.
Yeah,
when he pokes his head in the shower.
Yeah.
He's like, someone's in my shower. That's pretty funny. But I thought Debra's was pretty cute as well.
It was. And then Ray has the good line to close. He's just like, it's not funny if you hurt the person you're making fun of.
Which shows how the surprisingly frank Marie and Robert can take a joke, but Ray, he's been sheltered his whole life. No one's ever criticized Ray. I think we have an episode later on, if I'm remembering correctly, where somebody dislikes Ray, and that is the conflict of the entire episode.
It's a huge problem. Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
Yeah, on a show called Everybody Loves Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a problem.
Everybody's got to love Raymond.
Speaking of loving Raymond, do we love Raymond? Let's find out. When we turn to our patented barometer, it's the scale from 1 to 10, on which we rate Ray's performance every episode, 10 being the great dads of sitcom history, and 1 being the bad men of TV. Mike, where is Ray coming in for you on this episode?
I don't know. Well, first of all, I want to say that I was a little disappointed with the hot close. Just want to say I thought that what they were going to do is what I was hoping for is a little bit more detail of the Barones interacting with Dr. Nora. I would have loved to see them cut away to I don't know, them clearly in the middle of some psychological testing and them just loving the attention. I would have I don't know. I thought that would have been a strong close as well.
Yeah.
We didn't get that, so it's fine. But I thought that was where it was going to be. As far as Ray, this episode, I don't know, man. I mean, on the one hand, he tries. On the other hand, he doesn't try very hard. He tries to kick out Marie and Frank when they enter. I think he does make a genuine attempt and then is shell-shocked when he sees things going wrong. He does a not awesome job of cheering his wife up when she's in the middle of this crisis. I don't know. I mean, he has a couple of okay moments. He has a couple of, oh, good God, what moments? He's not as egregious as he has been in the past, but he's certainly not great. I think I'm just going to give him a 5 because I think he's pretty dead middle this episode.
All right. Alex, where's Ray coming in for you?
I thought Ray was better than that. I think this is one of the rare times I'm going to give Ray a better score than you, Mike.
All right.
I liked kind of again, it's hard to rate Ray on episodes that aren't completely about him because we have less to work with, right? This is how Ray responds to the issues that Debra is having. And throughout the entire episode, he starts very disruptive in that first scene, but it was kind of in a playful way. He does kind of seemingly oppose the idea of, her quote unquote airing her laundry out for many people to see. And that's not something I'm going to fault because that's an opinion. And then, throughout the episode, he tries to keep his family away from the interviewer and fails to because it's his family. And we know that, they are an unstoppable force and Ray is not an immovable object, not even close. So the ice cream thing, again, a few points off. And then, as we go through, I think he actually does a really good job at comforting Debra in the end and kind of making her kind of feel just better about the whole thing. I feel like Debra's conflict was solved, and I think it was solved in no due part because of Raymond. So I'm going to give him a 7.
All right.
Good job.
That's a good point.
Couple mistakes.
That's a very good point.
Good job, though.
My instinct is to go that high as well because, like you say, once the conflict is clear, I feel like Ray didn't have a ton of influence over the situation. I mean, as always, they could have locked the door and...
that's
then
the
none
thing
of this would have happened.
All of these episodes could be fixed by a lock. Sorry. Sorry for interrupting, Adam, but I did have that occur in my mind. Just like, do they lock Ed ever?
They would have never stopped knocking. They would have never stopped.
But at least if they're knocking, you can somewhat control that situation. It's surprising to me that in all of Debra's preparation for this, she didn't have it in her mind. When Dr. Nora comes in, I'm going to lock the door behind her. But regardless of what the situation was, I don't feel like it was Ray's fault that the Barones sort of steamrolled. He, obviously couldn't stop them. Once that conflict, though, of Debra feeling like the Barones are more interesting than her or that she's boring is clear, I think Alex is right that Ray does a pretty good job of comforting Debra. He even helps her arrive to the conclusion that she is weird for being in this family, and that solves the problem for her. And they had some nice moments together as well. I feel like he did some good in this episode, so it's not a true neutral, but nor was he, a superstar who solved all the problems for everybody. So I'm going to give him a 6.8.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Away from the wow, that's specific. We'll take it. Well, that would put Ray this episode at a 6.3.
Okay.
For on the barometer.
That feels right.
So that's not bad.
6.3. His average is 5.6, and now it's 5.6. No change. Way to go, Ray.
No change, but you know what? That's okay. He's above 5. That's a really good improvement from where he was at the beginning of the show.
If Ray falls below 5, we may be in danger of getting canceled. The show. We're going to lose our funding. We haven't mentioned this in like 17 weeks, but this show is funded by a generous research grant from Lynbrook University. We're writing an extensive report on Ray's performance on every episode, and if Ray starts to do poorly, I fear we will start to do poorly, and then the committee will not be pleased with us, and we will lose our funding. So, Ray, good job. You're keeping us afloat here. Speaking of floating, why don't you float on over to your podcast app and leave us a review?
Amazing segue.
Leave us a rate and a review, and subscribe and all that good stuff. That helps us climb the charts. Hey, we broke onto the charts in Singapore last week, and we're happy.
Love to Singapore. Thank you.
We lost Trinidad and Tobago, but we gained Singapore, and you know what? We're happy to have you. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Barone Zone. Hit up our sponsors on postfund.info/ads and send us a remembrance or a Judge Debra. That's a remembrance is any piece of media that the rest of the cast has been in outside of this show, and a Judge Debra is an oppositional hypothetical. So, Mike, what's an example of a Judge Debra?
Let's go with let's go with basically who would.
Not so easy, is it?
Who would? No, it's not. It's easy to criticize. Oh, who would go farthest on the Great British Baking Show? Would it be
Marie or Debra?
Marie or Debra?
Well, that's too easy.
It's gonna be Marie. Let's go with Marie or some other random cook in
or a celebrity chef
in media. Yeah. Marie versus Emerald, because we mentioned him earlier. Marie versus Emerald. Who would go farther in the Great British Baking Show? Let's go with that. That's a good example.
Yeah. So send one of those over to us on the social media or the email. Anything else to add before we hit our classic sign off, guys?
No, thank you guys so much for listening, and can't wait to see you next time for our season 1 finale.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we should have plugged that.
It's gonna be a big one.
Hey, tell your friends.
Don't forget to come by.
Tell your friends to listen to next week's episode and none of the episodes that come before that, and see how long. That's the new challenge. So previously we had the 24 hours of Everybody Loves Raymond challenge. The new challenge is you tell your friend to listen to season 1, episode 22, which is coming out next week. And whoever's friend makes it the furthest before turning it off, we'll send you
wins.
Nothing. We will shake your hand.
We'll send you bragging rights.
We will acknowledge you in private.
Perfect.
That's our show. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time. There's only one last thing to say. It's our classic sign-off. Everybody
loves
Raymond,
and we love you.